That's over with. It's a new day and a new time. I think they'll ante up. If not, they'll feel the pain because we're going to let Trump continue to tear the place apart if they don't come to us. Well, the way
it's looking, especially with the young African-American vote, they're not having it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again so much for tuning in. This is the Real Deal Fam Network. I am Andre, and this is the gorgeous wife, Essie.
How you doing? It's been a while. Boo.
It ain't been that long.
You know what it is.
Thank y'all again so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support. Thank you so much to all the new subscribers and everybody who's been commenting and sharing with the videos. We thank you so much and highly appreciate it.
Speed it up, honey. We got to get to this juicy topic.
All right. If you hadn't had the opportunity, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe.
And we will highly appreciate it. Well, we're going to dive right in tonight. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris and some of the issues that African Americans have with her as a VP.
As a person.
Oh, as a person. Okay. Basically what we're going to talk about is Kamala is a former state's attorney general in California and is now a VP candidate for Joe Biden and his campaign. And she ran for president herself, actually against Joe Biden and some of the other Democratic nominees. Unfortunately, she didn't win. She dropped out of the race. And,
well, fortunately.
Well, for her, unfortunately.
Well, and that is horrible, but I used to like Kamala Harris. You know, you like her toughness, you like her grittiness, you like she's a, you know, a strong woman. You know, you like that she commands, you know, action and stuff, but once the dirt started coming out on her, and then she wasn't standing for black or African Americans the way she should have, especially if she wants our vote, that's when the axe got taken out.
Yeah, we did a video in the past when she was running as a presidential candidate, and we listed some of her faults that was being uncovered, so to speak. And some of the bigger issues that most of us have with Kamala is that during her time as a, I guess, lead police officer in terms of being an attorney general, some of her laws were really targeted the African-American community, and a lot of people got locked up, predominantly us as black people.
Well, she said she was just doing her job. But the problem is she was so successful at doing her job, which was, you know, basically the criminal justice system set up for locking up African-American men, predominantly, that she started doing, you know, some sketchy stuff as, you know, some reports come out. And sometimes when she may have known the person was innocent, in order to continue to get the conviction rate to still be up, she did some things that may not have been so wonderful.
Well, that's fine. We support Kamala doing her job, but when you have 13% of the population being almost probably half of the people that's being convicted and thrown in jail, then you got an issue. That ain't doing your job. That's targeting a certain demographic.
Yeah, she had one case in particular where, I mean, it was egregious that the man did not commit the crime. I think even the state awarded him a lot, you know, millions of dollars award. And still didn't, she never apologized. Even to this day, she's running. You know that's on your record. That's something bad, and you still don't come to the man and apologize. And I think she was said to have been, you know, covering up evidence or hiding evidence from the defense on that case that proved that young man may have been innocent. So
yeah, and it was a severe case. I mean, it was a murder charge that the young man was facing. And unfortunately for him, there was no physical evidence to support the case. I don't think they had any eyewitness accounts. I think they had like 20 people come forward, and none of them was really clear about what they saw or anything like that. Yeah. Nobody could definitively say that's the gentleman that they saw commit the crime. So the young man was finally vindicated. And like my wife said, he was awarded a substantial sum. Yeah, so several people have come out and said that she's done these similar type things. It's kind of similar to like the prosecutorial staff in Brunswick, Georgia, with the case, what's his name, Ahmaud Arbery, and how it was kind of corrupt and they was doing things to cover up and do different stuff. She has kind of
similar, you know, sketchy background when it comes to stuff like that, that the people are coming out the woodworks and saying. So that was strike number one.
Right. And then I think strike number two, Kamala is, which she states, I think she's half Indian and her mother's Indian. I think her father was Jamaican. And she went to Howard University, and from there, I guess she went, got various degrees, and then went into politics from there. But a lot of the issues is that Kamala Harris comes across and portrays herself as I guess, as an Adolf, so to speak.
Well, has she said she's African American?
I don't think she portrays her. She don't say she's African American, but I think she comes across as though she's using that platform to get what she wants.
So we'll address this issue in more depth about the difference between African Americans and their issues, and then you have people who are not descendants of slavery that are here in this country, and how our issues are slightly different, and sometimes they don't come across as, you know, going to bat for your issues, especially reparations, or trying to fight things against the criminal system, trying to fight for, you know, just different things that African Americans need, you know, because of the background that we have.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
The reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country, right?
So, you know, she unfortunately fits that bill that she doesn't slide into the African American heritage.
And instead of an arranged marriage, she chose a love marriage. This act of self-determination made my sister Maya and myself, and it made us Americans.
She has also stood up to President Trump's stance on undocumented immigration, becoming an advocate for dreamers, young people brought to the U.S. illegally as children.
And we can help these young people who are called dreamers, who are also contributing to the economy and helping to uplift the economy.
I think at the moment, we're looking for some sincerity, we're looking for some genuineness, we're looking for somebody who's real, that's going to get in there and really do some things. I think after experiencing the administration of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And
Barack Obama was another one that he's not descendant from African American, a person who has had a history of slavery in this country. His father was from
Kenya,
and his mother was from Hawaii or Midwest.
Yeah, I think she was from the Midwest. Her parents resided in.
Obama, your position on reparations?
I think the reparations we need right here in South Carolina is investment, for example, in our schools. We've got to understand that there are corridors of shame all across the country. And if we make the investments and understand that those are our children, that's the kind of reparations that are really going to make a difference in America.
Is anyone on the stage for reparations for slavery for African Americans? Are you?
I am. The Bible says we shall be and must be repairers of the breach. And a breach has occurred, and we have to acknowledge that.
Were you aware that your great-great-grandfathers were slave owners in Alabama before the Civil War? And has that revelation caused you to change your position on reparations?
You know, I find myself once again in the same position as President Obama. We both oppose reparations, and we both are the descendants of slaveholders.
White.
Right, so that's consistently becoming an issue. You know, the mainstream media is picking people or black people that don't have any, you know, kinship towards African Americans and their issues, all the oppressions that we face. If you've just come over here and you're being able to reap the bounties of the things and the hard work that we fought for, but you never had to go through the struggles, of course you wouldn't want reparations. You're like, oh, that's old, we don't need that. But our ancestors have died and we're still dying, but you're reaping the benefits. So that's the issue.
Yeah, it's a major issue. I think, number one, we're not really looking for you to say, okay, well, I'm black African American, I'm from American Descendants of Slaves. That's not really the key issue. The key issue that if you're going to represent yourself as a person of color, you definitely need to address issues that impact those communities.
Well, if you want our vote, that's the thing. You go off and get them other people to give you a vote if you want to, but you trying to come to us to get a vote. And what we're talking about is we want some kind of reparations. We want some kind of free college. We want free health care. We want the same things Native Americans have. We want that plus more.
And for every tribal community struggling to keep its people safe, that I'll be signing the Tribal Law and Order Act into law today. And in doing so, I intend to send a clear message that all of our people, whether they live in our biggest cities or our most remote reservations, have the right to feel safe in their own communities and to raise their children in peace and enjoy the fullest protection of our laws. As many of you know, I campaigned on this issue. And during our tribal conference last year, I pledged my administration's fullest support for this bill.
Okay, so we want to be paid because our people still being hung and lynched and all kind of stuff. Okay, so we haven't got squat.
Right, and to piggyback off that, like my wife's saying, if you wanted to help out all these various different demographics, that's fine. But ADOS, which we keep saying is the American Descendants of Slaves here in America, they need something specific for them. It's always a policy that's being put forward or promoted that doesn't really address them specifically. And if it does, it's something by default. There's other groups mixed in, and for some reason, we still tend to end somewhere in the bottom after everything is allocated.
Yeah, so if you, so they always want to classify it as minorities, but in the minorities, African Americans, descendants of slaves, always are at the bottom and get a tiny sliver of what's for minorities, which they tout it as being for us, but then we never get it. So it goes to Asians, it goes to Indians, it goes to people from you know, coming over from Africa, it goes to everybody else, and we get a tiny sliver, so it doesn't affect our population hardly at all, except on the reverse where we're not getting, you know, we're getting our necks, you know, stepped on. Unfortunately, I have to give that analogy because that's real.
Right. And at this particular point in the game, right now, I'm not really concerned whether it's Kamala or whether it's Elizabeth Warren or whoever it is. What we need for our community is reparations specifically for black folk who parents, who grandparents, as far as you can go back, our ancestry is from slaves that was brought here to this country and hadn't had a fair shake at all the prosperity that has come to this country. That's what we need. We need somebody who's going to tout that and push that type of agenda. And right now, even though Kamala and all these different people like Barack, they come up and they say, well, I'm black or I'm a person of color. That doesn't matter. It doesn't pay our bills. It doesn't do anything for us. We need somebody who's going to get in there and get something done. And right now, I don't think Kamala is the person.
No, she said she was not for reparations. So that's the thing. At this point, if you're black, white, or whatever, don't come to African Americans expecting to get our vote if you're not willing to give us any of our concessions.
As long as young people are protesting in the streets, hoping real change takes hold, I'm hopeful, but we can't casually abandon them at the ballot box. We can't treat voting as an errand to run if we have some time. We have to treat it as the most important action we can take on behalf of democracy. And like John, we have to give it all we have. I was proud that John Lewis was a friend of mine.
Keep it stepping.
And what our concessions are very straightforward, very clear, and very specific in detail. And that's, we need that reparations. That's where it starts at. And if nobody's coming to the table with that, we're not really interested.
Keep it pimping.
Right. And so that's, to me, that's the main and core issue with Kamala. And if you're going to be genuine, if you're going to court a specific demographic, if you say, I want the African-American vote, that's important to me.
Right.
Then you make sure you have a platform for them that's going to address their needs. You're not going to come ask them for something, and then once you get what you need, you turn your back on us, and then we got to wait 4 more years.
And that's exactly what happened with President Obama. 2 terms, he went around the world touting gay rights for African Americans didn't get anything. He gave a lot of people in Africa entrepreneurial money, money to fight terrorism. He didn't give any money over here to his own people to fight terrorism or protect black people, give us
in our own neighborhood
education. Yeah, he didn't do not one thing. Matter of fact, black folks regressed under President Obama and lost their homes, lost a major portion of the wealth, the tiny piece of wealth that we did have. It were a negative after him.
And guess what? The 4 years has rotated again, and they out courting the African-American vote. And President Obama is out there again touting that the black people vote is very important and that we can't have somebody suppressing our vote.
Look, we did not vote Trump in. You begged and hollered. We did not vote that man in.
We gave him to you.
Now you can go and have him.
Yeah, so right now, if you want our vote, we're right here. We ain't running from anybody. We ain't doing anything like that. But you're going to step to us in an adult manner with real policies. We're not interested in
We're not shucking and jiving in the church. So that's over.
Right.
Okay, we love the Lord, but you better come correct up over here.
Right. And we definitely represent and support, and we got your back. And we've been doing that a long time and not receiving anything. So now this is a different era. The people are woke. The people are conscious of what's taking place. They know what's happening. The economy is tanking. All these benefits and stuff are going to different groups and bypassing us. And so we're not having that this year.
And we're not going for you doing things, saying these things, and then voting in bills that imprison large portion of African Americans, which Clinton and Biden did in the past.
And the same, too, that was out at, Congressman John Lewis's funeral.
Yeah, touting and telling us all the good things that you did, and to keep John Lewis was great. He rode for peace. He didn't want to rile the black folks up. Well, guess what? Y'all riled us up. We riled up, and we ain't giving you nothing until you give us what we need.
Right. So whether it's Kamala Harris, whether it's Susan Rice, all of the old same characters with the same talking points.
Yeah, Susan Rice was up there with Obama. She ain't do nothing. All she did was told Snoop Dogg to sit down and shut up.
But she's the one right now. I think she's second in terms of prospects for getting that particular appointment. She can keep it stepping too, unless she's willing to give reparations or concessions. Right. And as everybody can see, you can see with President Trump, he went out, he promised his constituents all types of things. I'm going to get the wall built. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tap Obamacare, and I'm going to give y'all the greatest.
Bring back the coal industry.
I'm going to give you the greatest health care you ever seen.
Manufacturing.
Guess what? None of that stuff has taken place.
Nope.
And whether his constituents believe that again and come out and vote for him again, he already done dish you. He didn't do any of the things he said. And so you got to look at that. And that's the same position African Americans has been in for pretty much since we've had the right to vote.
Yeah.
So that's over with. It's a new day and a new time. I think they'll ante up. If not, they'll feel the pain because we're going to let Trump continue to tear the place apart if they don't come to us.
Well, the way it's looking, especially with the young African-American vote, they're not having it.
No, they're not. The young folks are dissenting, and they are quite frustrated right now. And they don't ascribe to the old ways of doing business. And a lot of the seniors and stuff who just want to get Trump out of there and then just bring Biden in, he don't give you anything.
But just lock you up.
Right.
And take away your Social Security and your Medicare, Medicaid. That's where he's got 40 years of trying to get rid of that stuff. So why you think he's so great? No.
Right. At the moment, we have leverage. And it's very important you exercise that. Don't just throw it to the side and cast it away and then give it to him. Once he got your vote, then he throws you away.
Yes, every other group of people that have been wronged have got reparations. I don't understand why you think this group of people ain't supposed to get reparations. Best believe it's prophesied we gonna be getting reparations, and then it said we gonna be deuces up out of this thing.
Well, I think that's what they're concerned about. But the first thing you need to do is get your checkbook together, get all your monies organized.
Checkbook, ain't nobody trying to get no check. I need gold reserves or something.
Yeah, but we got to get that payment. So let's sit down, let's get that all ironed out. And we're going to make sure that's handled before the voting day.
And ain't no $1 million a person. T.I., you need to go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, that's
Yo, fake a move.
That's not enough
no.
right now. We got to sit down and you got to calculate.
Over 400 years of slavery, over 500 million people have died or been, that's not to include being oppressed and stuff all these years. No.
And as a celebrity who's made good money in his career, you understand that $1 million is really not a lot of money. It will be gone in no time, and you'll be right back being oppressed.
Yes, Jewish people got almost $1 billion in the early 1950s, which translates to
quite a
several
bit of money.
$trillion.
Right. So let's just get serious about this thing, and everybody out there, make sure you involved and you get all the information you need before you run out there casting a vote all willy-nilly and supporting candidates blindly. Always accept something. It should be an even exchange. It's not just a vote based on celebrity, based on likability.
Yes, you're voting these people in here to represent you and to do the things you need them to do for you. So for African Americans, this is what we need.
Right. They got 8 years of George Bush because they say he seemed like the kind of guy I could have a beer with. A beer ain't going to pay your bills. You don't need him to do none of that. You need him
beer got you negative at Wall Street.
Right. You need him to do his job. That's it. We don't need to talk. Just take care and run this country like you should and be a real, true leader. Mm-hmm. That's what we need. But Kamala Harris, I hope if you see this, get with Joe Biden. Y'all get all y'all advisors. Get everybody together. Get them all. I'm talking about all your advisors. And y'all get down and iron out the details and put forth an economic plan specifically.
Joe Biden is a segregationalist. He's not going to be trying to tout reparations.
I mean, all the candidates. I mean,
I'm just telling you, the man is old Dixie South segregationalist.
Listen, for us, everybody is the same. It's all one big melting pot.
Yes, for African Americans, we're in the middle of two mountains that are horrible. So you're in the valley. You need to call out for the Lord and see what's going to pop off.
Right. So that's just it. Don't get too concerned about he's a this or he's a that. You need to make sure that our community is represented in terms of getting tangible things for us. We can care less about their personal views and what have you. As long as we are taken care of, our concerns are met, our families are safe and healthy, that's all matter. And that's what we're looking for in this election. Otherwise, the voting polls going to be slapped empty, and they're going to wind up with Trump for another 4 years. And so all they can do is blame themselves. That's it. Well, we really appreciate everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. We just wanted to give a little bit of insight on the presidential candidate, vice president candidates out there right now.
Yeah, and what's the temperature of African Americans? What are we feeling? What are we thinking? Why do they keep coming out and trying to get us to vote for these people when we're saying, no, what you got? What you got for a pork chop?
Right. This is a whole new era, a whole new form of black people, the way we go and the way we approach voting, the way we approach politics. The old school way is over. Just saying, oh, we got the right to vote and ain't getting nothing, that's over with. We passed that. It's time to get something now. And we thank y'all again. And we really appreciate that. We hope y'all would leave a comment and let us know what you think and how you feel. And if you support Kamala Harris or any of the other candidates, please give us an insight to why. It could only help other people that read the comments and help edify everybody.
How do you feel about old Dixie South segregationist Biden and old racist Trump? What you think?
Yeah, I'm sure everybody got a nice opinion towards that. But thank y'all again so much. And y'all have such a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.